Okay, let me ask you a different question, which is around Bitcoin. Because you last spring, said, you know what, I'm getting into crypto for the first time.
Again, I thought things were crazy then. I think they're crazy now. Bitcoin, listen, I like Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is math, and math has been around for thousands of years. And 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4, and it will for the next 2,000 years. So I like the idea of investing in something that's reliable, consistent, honest, and 100% certain. So Bitcoin has appealed to me because it's a way for me to invest in certainty, where, again, I look at the difference between the Fed of 2013, the Fed of 2021. I'm going, how can this, do I want to have faith necessarily? I look at the difference between Trump and Biden. Do I want to have faith in that same reliability and consistency of human nature and the linear nature of human nature, which we know is anything but that?
You like Bitcoin at these prices?
Listen.
You got in at about 10,000?
I like Bitcoin as a portfolio diversifier. Everyone always asks me, what should I do with my portfolio? My employees say. I say, okay, listen, the only thing that I know for certain is I want to have 5% in gold, 5% in Bitcoin, 5% in cash, 5% in commodities at this point in time. I don't know what I want to do with the other 80%. I want to wait and see what the Fed's going to do, because what they do will have a big impact.
Let me ask you about certainty when it relates to Bitcoin. I mean, look at what a tweet by Elon Musk over the weekend, arguably, and I know there's an argument about it, pushed it up over 10%. At one point, a couple months ago, it pushed it down. You know,
so I have a lot of friends who are heavily invested in crypto. More power to them. I have a defensive position for myself personally and my family that I just don't even look at anymore. I really don't look at it. I don't think of it, oh, wow, I made X today or I lost X today. For me, it's just a way of kind of foundationally looking at how do I protect my wealth through time. And I think it's a great diversifier. And I look at it, again, I look at Bitcoin as a store of wealth. I looked at crypto as a store of wealth. Others will argue that this is a different ecosystem. It's transactional in nature. It's going to be, those are great things. But that's not why I own
You made the argument, though, that it's math and that, not that it's risk-free, but in terms of the risks, we haven't talked about two risks, which are risks long on the just capital list. Things around the environment, for example. Geopolitical risks, whether the Chinese government or other governments decide to even allow it, whether the Fed at some point says, we're not doing this. How do you peg those risks?
So, again, it costs more to mine gold energy-wise than it does Bitcoin. Clearly, I'm concerned about the environmental impacts that Bitcoin have. If I was king of the world, I'd ban Bitcoin mining.
You would?
Just because of the environmental impacts, and then make the ecosystem figure out a way to do it without expanding the supply anymore at all. That's what I would do. But can I just say, I do think that we are in extraordinary times. I hope that we'll mean revert back to economic orthodoxy. I really do. I get nervous from a financial instability standpoint when the stock market's 220% of GDP. I get nervous when I know that number was 45% higher than the 2000 bubble, and I know it's 90% higher than the 2007 top. So if you just look at the amount of quantitative easing that we have planned just between now and December, and you think about the 60% correlation between the NASDAQ and the reserves that the Fed holds, you could argue the NASDAQ is going to go up 20% if we stay on this pace of $120 billion of Treasury purchases per month. You could argue that's where we're going to be at year end. And so I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I don't know if continuing to increase valuations through monetization is the right and most prudent course right now.
We want to talk about Robinhood, but Becky's back at the studio, and she's got a question for you, Paul. Becky?
Thanks, Andrew. Hey, Paul, just a quick question. If the Fed is so important and you're waiting to make decisions on 80% of your portfolio based on what they say, what would you do if they don't change their statement, if they kind of roll along, it's business as usual for this most recent meeting? And what would you do if they were to say, OK, we are seeing signs of inflation and maybe it's time for us to start to pull back on purchases? What would be the two things that you'd wind up doing in that binary situation?
If they treat it with nonchalance, if they say we're on path, things are good, then I would just go all in on the inflation trades. I'd probably buy commodities, buy crypto, buy gold.